What's up, y'all? It's Lone Wolf. It's 1:30 in the morning. Stop by Jack in Box and grab some coffee. We're running some orders. So this one tonight is about betrayal. And I wish I would have stuck this in my first book. It might end up in a book. But there's things you need to know. If you're a good person and you've always been from the light and you've always had Jesus in you, okay? And you need to know this about betrayal. People are going to stumble over you if you have the light of Jesus in you. If you walk with God, you will have people from the dark will stumble over you, okay? I'm trying not to laugh with that, okay? I'm trying not to because I done had a whole bunch of people stumble over me, bro. A whole bunch of people, okay? Now, what do you need to know about karma, divine judgment, okay? When it comes to that, because stumbling can be as simple as they betrayed you on purpose and they willingly stumbled over you, but they look back and I can't believe I stumbled over them, okay? The wicked will fall by their own wicked ways, and the wicked eat their own. This is in the Bible, okay? I'm not quoting any verses or any books. I should be, but right now I'm just on a talk because I went through a little bit of self-reflection, and I seem to do that when I'm driving around, and I'm like, okay, so what's up? So, what does it mean that the wicked will fall by their own wicked ways, okay? Well, it's kind of the same thing as the wealth of your crime will be your downfall. Kind of, okay? So, in what ways are they wicked? Those are the ways that they will fall. If somebody stole from you, okay? Chances are they're going to steal from the wrong person, or there's going to be something that happens, okay? When people stumble over you, they're out in the dark, they can't see anything, but you come along just whoop, and you're from the light, and they stumble over you because they betrayed you. They could have straight shook you and just recognized you, okay, he's from the light. So they're unaware. People are unaware of you being an important building block, okay, that they tossed aside, which is Jesus that's in you. So you came along their life path for a reason, and it can be to convert them, maybe. It can be to simply give them a message. It could be a million different things. The reason why God had you from the light incarnated into this world, and you crossed all these people's paths and they stumbled over you, okay? Not everybody will stumble over you either. In my case, I done had waves and armies of people stumbling over me, and I didn't understand it for a long time. I was like, why am I getting betrayed? Why is this all happening to me? And I was like, oh, you have to remain faithful and be in the Word to see it. So, I've been in the Word today, okay? I was in the Word today, and I read Old Testament stuff today, okay? So, what I was reading about was the rebuilding of the wall of Jerusalem and Nehemiah, okay? And I read 1 through 8. Actually, it was 1 through 7, I think it was, okay? So I didn't go 8 through 13. But I was reading that, and I was starting to understand that story in general, which is not really relevant to what I'm talking about right now, but I'm just letting you know kind of where I'm at in the Word and what type of good seed I'm taking in, okay? So, I'm trying not to laugh at the stumbling part. And it's one of those things where sometimes you can't help but kind of like giggle about it, but it's like dead serious, bro. Like, these people stumbled over you and it affected their whole lives. But that stumbling over you, they can either take it as a lesson or they can ride it all the way down. That's how I kind of saw it. And maybe I'm not on point about that, but that's how I see it through my eyes in my walk right now, okay? So when you have Jesus in you, people will stumble over you by betraying you, okay? Tossing that stone aside. But the wicked will fall by their own wicked ways. So if they betray people, the wicked are betraying people around you. The wicked people around you are betraying you and betraying other people. They're going to betray so many people that it's going to cause a downfall. Or they're going to betray the wrong person. And that person could have betrayed that person and it caused a liability to be put in their hands, but the button, the nuclear button, it's this little square controller with a red button that's in the other person's hand, and they can push it and destroy their whole lives, okay? I had a whole lot of red buttons come my way, okay? And there was a reason why I didn't push those buttons. I let God have the control center that everybody built. So some people will just have, I haven't betrayed like once or twice. I got a couple red buttons in my hand. I could probably, ruin their life, but I'm going to just give it to God. Well, I had a whole command center give it to me with red buttons, and I didn't push any of them. I gave them all to God, and there was a reason why I did that too. Well, is it my business to push that red button, or why shouldn't I just give that to the Creator and let Him deal with it? Well, it seemed like a better option, because pushing that red button, it seemed like blood and mud for me. Like I was exacting revenge in a way by pushing a button. Sometimes not, when you actually have to. Situations where people are in danger, that type of thing. Well, and I was for a little while, but God's got me. I'm not worried about that. If you give it all to God, God will orchestrate it into His plan. That's what He wants. Well, and it's His plan. He'll carry out the way He wants anyway. So if He doesn't want any of those buttons pushed, He won't push them. What I've seen is, if you have a whole bunch of people that stumbled over you, this big rubber band ball mess, okay? We've all cursed you, done witchcraft, hit you with this, voodoo, whatever it may be, and you're just reading through the book, walking them down, going to church, going to holy grounds, do what you're supposed to be doing, okay? God will orchestrate all these buttons in a way where it fits into His plan, where the wicked will fall by their own wicked ways, if you see what I'm saying here. So, if you give it to God, you'll see. You don't understand the control center because, well, He's got the control center in His hand. He's God. God can do anything. He could tell you, I'm never pushing one of these buttons. But generally, I see it as though God will push these buttons based upon His will. That's His decision, okay? But if you do that, say, this is why I fear pushing a red button like that, okay? It could be that goes against God's plan, that He did not want that button pushed. That's God's plan to carry that out. So, there you go. That's not my button to push. But I know there's like 5 million buttons sitting there in your hand, which is very scary. So I'm like, oh, I'm just here. Like, it was kind of scary. But you see it, and you're like, okay. So if I were to have pushed any of those buttons just because I wanted revenge on that situation, so I'm going to push that button and I got you screwed for something that you did when you betrayed me or took something from me or did something, or I know that you went and did this. For example, somebody betrayed me and stole money from me, but you're also doing something that you could probably, say, illegal, okay? That I could push a button and make a call and get you screwed. I'm not really that type of person, so unless it was like endangering a child's life, that's probably where I would step in and go, yeah, God, I'd probably talk to God about it first. Be like, what do you want me to do about this? This is kind of strange, okay? But what I do is I give God the buttons. I acquire these buttons from people stumbling over me and betraying me, okay? Which is very strange. So, you get these buttons and you hand them over. Let God have them. So God's got all these buttons, and well, it could be that you push the button and nothing happens, and God just takes that and give me that, you know? It's kind of one of them things. Maybe that's how the Most High works, okay? But I see it as though it's not right for me to push that button, because God's plan is God's plan. I don't want to go up against God's plan. I may talk to God about it and see if that's what He wanted me to do, but furthermore, okay, wicked fall by their own wicked ways. The button thing is just a thing that I kind of, it's archetypical state of mind, mode of being. I try and put it together a little bit spiritual, not so much of a biblical. But I'm trying to tie that biblical spiritual thing together. And it could be different in your life, where you see things completely different, but it's kind of the same, and this is how you deal with things, and that's fine. This is just how I see it, how things play out, okay? in my existence here. So, the wicked eat their own. Well, what does that mean? Okay. Well, the wicked take each other out, dude. It's something that people don't really understand. Is that wicked people will eat each other. So they will cause each other's downfalls in a way. So I thought about this and I was like, well, okay. It could be that the wicked eating their own causes the button to be pushed, that's how God intended that to be, and both people go down for something. Or that person goes down for it because those two wicked people ate, they eat their own and they fall by their wicked ways. So you see that and you're like, well, okay, so God can push a button based upon two people's actions. Your action caused a reaction and God just automatically pushed the button. And you're like, yeah, okay, well, that's kind of strange. But no blood, no mud. I didn't do nothing. And it could be that it has nothing to do with a button or anything like that. It's just how that works. But I'm trying to put that together in a way where I'm like, well, that's strange. So, when people stumble over you, you need to expect that, okay? What do you do? Well, the wisest thing to do is to not get angry. Somebody stumbles over you or betrays you or does something, and you're just like, you want to get mad, just stop and just remember that God's in control and that somehow fits into His plan. I forgive you. I'm going to go out and do my merry thing. Live my life. Do my stuff. Make some money. At 2 a.m, running hamburgers. Well, you ain't a bad deal, okay? I don't care. I'm doing what I'm doing. But God's plan is God's plan, okay? So if somebody stumbled over you, they stumbled over you for a reason, okay? So it may be that somebody stumbled over you by betraying you, or something happened and you were there, or something, okay? Something where you came across their path and they stumbled over you and you were in the light, okay? That maybe it was a warning to them. You better change your ways or this is going to happen and you're taking this path that's about to kamikaze you straight down. It could be it's that extreme of a warning. It could be they stumbled over you, but they've stumbled over multiple people in their lives that walk with God. And it could be a wake-up call that they need to get right with the Most High and get wisdom and figure it out. And start following Jesus Christ. Figure out the Old Testament. Figure out old wisdom. Figure out the New Testament. Everything Genesis to Revelation. Figure out all the connection. So, have I stumbled across people in my life? Okay? Maybe. I thought, well, I haven't really betrayed a lot of people, but stumbling in my own life over somebody from the light, I can't really recall an instance where that had happened to me at such a severity, okay? Well, and a lot of that was because since I was a child, I went to church as a kid, okay? And there was something about the pastor that I had at the church that I had when I was younger where it felt like he just spread good seed among his church. And it seemed as though that seed fell on good ground. Good enough ground that it was like, that it blossomed. That it wasn't like it fell along the road or it fell under thorn bushes. You see what I'm saying? Refer to Matthew. But, well, it might be John. I can't remember. But for people that are in a rock bottom situation, reflect on your life where you may have stumbled over something, or someone that had the light of Jesus in them. I would try and look at that first, okay? Look at your own contributions to it. Were you betrayed and put in that situation? If you were, maybe everyone stumbled over you and tossed you aside. So, what happens? Well, God's got His hand over you. If somebody stumbles over you like that and betrays you, they don't forget that. Okay? People don't forget that. People don't forget that. Okay? They remember it. They can remember it in many ways. I had an ex-girlfriend that remembered it in a bout of constant anger. Okay? That it was always my fault and it's your fault. Yes, rah, 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 rah. It's like, I really didn't do anything. You kind of betrayed me for years. But it's all my fault. So, the reprobated mind will stumble over someone who is wise in the light of God. So, a narcissist will stumble over someone from the light. This is why a narcissist sees somebody who has the light of God in them, and I don't think they want an empath from the dark. Okay, but somebody who's from the light of God, who's got Jesus in them, they don't want nothing to do with you, bro. They may try and kind of woo you and play you as a fool, but you can see through it. But they generally don't want nothing to do with you. If you want to stop attracting narcissists, start getting wisdom in the New Testament and Old Testament. Nowhere to be found, bro. I mean, I've seen them. They're out here. But it's almost like a reverse magnet. Like when you take a reverse polarity and it pushes them away. That's what it feels like. If you're like sick and tired of narcissists, get wise in Jesus Christ. Woo! Bro, they will go the other way. Like, way far away from you. Like, they don't want nothing to do with you because you're an opposite. You push them away. And that's not saying that they're like from the light. It's just a strange phenomenon that I've noticed, okay? God will test you with people with different spirits, like Jezebel, Leviathan, different spirits that are characters, people that were in the Bible. So he will, like for me, having the light of Jesus in me, I've had people that came my way that had the Jezebel spirit in them. Well, they definitely didn't like me, bro. They didn't like me at all. I've seen them like twitching and stuff. I'm like, what's going on? Something coming out your face. What's going on? So it's one of those, I had to like figure that out. Where I was like, okay, well, because I mean, I was with a narcissist for a while, okay? And I went through this where I kept trying to figure out, everybody always asks, what is the narcissist's karma? Okay? Well, the wicked fall by their own wicked ways, okay? The wicked eat their own. You know those two are true. That alone, you can write that out and figure out, you can see A, B, C, D of the possible paths that person is going to take, okay? So you know, if the wicked fall by their own wicked ways, okay, what does that mean for some people? Well, in my case, I seen a narcissistic woman that came my way, cheated on me, left me, got an STD, and turned around and could not find the suitable mate that she wanted because she had the STD. So nobody wanted to be with her that she originally wanted everybody to just gawk over her and want her and this and this and this, and it became public information that this happened. Okay? This was something that was like someone I dated for a little while and then cheated on me, and I was like, get out of here. And then went off, and I saw the full circle on it because it became public information because somebody spread a rumor about it, and it ended up being true. And it was really sad, and I prayed for the woman, okay? But how does that person fall? Well, you see certain things. You could see people go south while you're still going north and you're doing what you're supposed to do. So, I saw this happen, okay? This one was like, it was bad, bro, because this girl, like, if she wouldn't have acted the way she did, and she had the Jezebel spirit in her, okay? And if she would have been faithful to me, but faithful to other people, because she was like a serial cheater. I figured that part out. She's a serial cheater. So what's her downfall? She can't secure a husband because she's constantly going through this washing machine of infidelity with people, and now she's got this STD. You can't get rid of it. It's there, bro. Like, it's permanently affecting your life. That's not good. Even if you take a medication for it, it still happen. It's still there. So she can only date people that have the same STD. But let's go a little bit further. Later on down the line, and I'm going to kind of disconnect myself from this, and this is Ben, okay? This is Ben right here, and it happened to Ben. This woman moves on and cheats on all these people, and she's got herpes, she can't secure a husband, and she looks back and she goes, I want Ben. Well, Ben don't want you. They fell by their own wickedness. So they stumbled over him and fell by their own wickedness because he had the light of Jesus in him, for one. For two, think about it. She's falling by her own ways constantly. That's kind of the washing machine effect. But you also, it doesn't mean that the wicked fall by their own wicked ways by they die by their own wickedness, but they do. She could get AIDS or have some sort of life-threatening STD. If she's opened up to that, she's opened up to immunocompromise. If she wouldn't have made that decision and would have gone the other way, chances are she wouldn't have compromised her health and her immunity, but also her social life, and everything got affected. So she fell, okay? She stumbled and fell over him. She stumbled and fell over her every single thing after that. Because of that one decision, her whole life is different. It's different. Her whole life path is screwed. Not screwed, but it's kind of screwed. It's altered. If that person looks back and goes, in her mind, even in the very back depths, goes, I should have never done that, or I wouldn't be here right now. My life would be totally different, okay? I've seen this with people that cheat on their husbands and wives. One mistake. They lost their entire partnership. Everything. Their covenant with God broken with them. Like, you were one person, now you're one spirit. Now you guys are just all over the place, disconnected. You're single at 40. You can't find a good guy. No, there's no good men out here when they're all kind of just like, what's going on? Like, everything changed in your life. Not only did your circumstances change, but your lens change. Something about the way you see the world after that. They become more resentful. Someone becomes more resentful and angry. And now they have all these dark seeds in there that are sprouted from the situation that happened to them. So she got the STD. Anger, resentment, revenge. Still has a seed of lust. Has all these seeds are in there blossoming into this. They fall. That's the fall, okay? The fall, it can be akin to, I know this is a bit extreme, but when it talks about Satan falling from heaven like a flash of lightning, we can kind of see that with somebody who falls by their own wickedness. Okay? They have fallen from the light so far that these dark seeds are in there and have sprouted so far that it's almost like they've fallen from heaven and they're trying to figure out a way back in. Is there a way back in from there? Absolutely. You can repent, you can seek Jesus with your whole heart, and you can get closer to God. Anybody can repent and get in. If you are marked and cursed by God with the curse of Cain, that may be different. Or you can only get so close where you can't eat from the Word. Look at Revelation. Look at Revelation. It says, a liter of barley will cost you a day's wages. Well, that means that the amount of food you can get from the Bible, it'll cost you a whole day to get a liter of barley. Where somebody who hasn't really betrayed anybody, who's always had Jesus in them, I can eat abundantly from the Word. So I can just open it up, eat all I want. Unlimited food. This is unlimited spiritual food. I can eat as much as I want. I can be a fatty McFatty off the Bible. Well, I can eat spiritual food all I want. It's encouraged. But you look at it, okay? What does it mean that the wicked fall by their own wicked ways? Well, maybe it is that they fall. Their own wicked ways cause them to fall as they fall from the light out to the dark. And And a lot of people see it as wicked fall by their own wicked ways. Like, you're going to die from your own wickedness. Sometimes that's the case. Where all these dark seeds happen, and they end up going down the wrong road, where they end up going down suicidal ideations, mental problems. They go through all of this stuff, and it's like all of it stemmed from this wicked thing that happened. You stumbled over somebody, you did this wickedness here, and you are constantly through a washing machine going farther out into the dark. Instead of trying to see God with your whole heart, that's where an intervention coming your way should happen, okay? Where if you stumbled over somebody, you need to go and get right with God and figure out why you stumbled, okay? And you can't just say it's their fault, okay? You stumbled. It's not like they deliberately put their foot out and was like, and tripped you. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that, okay? So, that being said, I wish I would have added this to Footprints Volume 1. And I may do a Betrayal Volume 2. Technically Footprints Volume 3 is in the works, so it's almost done. But like 4 or 5, I might do another Betrayal book. And I might do it deeper than what I did. So my books could probably be endless, because honestly, interpreting the Word of God and connecting it, it's just like a mega hyperlink that I could write thousands of Footprints books and I still wouldn't cover it. So a lot of it is that someone might pick up one of those books and put a connection together that causes a chain reaction of them putting things together, and before they know it, they're walking with Christ and they're doing real good. Okay, they got wisdom. So for me, I've done seeing it out here where people have stumbled over me over very odd things. Okay, things I didn't even realize they stumbled. Like, a friend of mine thought that his girlfriend, hooked up with me or something like that, and it turns out I never hooked up with her. I wasn't even close to her. I really didn't even know her last or middle name, and I just saw kind of her as a sister. But he had the insecure dark seed in there. He stumbled over me, and then years later he realizes he never did anything. He was a good guy. And then I find out later that you spread all these rumors and did all these things and said all these things. I'm like, dude, I was always cool with you. So it's like, you stumbled over me, all this stuff happened, and it's like, well, that's a bad one too. Because that's one where I didn't even know you stumbled over me, but you betrayed me and I didn't find out until years later. And it's like, well, time's gone by, but it's still like, well, I forgive you for it, but I don't want you around. Well, have you dealt with that dark seed at all? Even if you have, I'm still kind of like, if you dealt with the dark seed and I shook with you and you're walking with Christ, I would be closer to you than if you weren't, okay? But generally, when that happens to me, I kind of just push people away, and I'm like, get this, get wisdom, get this, I forgive you for it. Just make sure that you learn from what you stumbled over and figure it out from there. Good luck. No blood, no mud. On my way. And maybe they can make solid friendships from there, and just remember it, that I taught that they stumbled over me with the light of God in me, and they learned something. And I think that was that's what I want out of that situation. I don't want revenge. I don't want to see you go down a washing machine and go and fall by your wickedness. I don't want to see that. I want to see you gain something from it and learn something. Now, what I learned in my walk so far is that it seems as though there is a high statistic in my walk and experience of my original everyone stumbling over me that continued to keep going and like did witchcraft and did this and that. And I had one dude that, like, bro, I hit him with every single hedge in the word while he was doing witchcraft on me, and he kept going. Like, he kept going. And I was like, I don't know how you're even here right now. You've been hit by every book, every hedge. You've been hit by cemeteries and churches. Like, I don't know how you're still going. Still going like that. It was a possessive hatred in there. And it's like, I ain't never done nothing to you, bro. Done nothing to you. I don't really understand. So it's like, well, it was all too common for me. So the enemy will do this to you, okay? But they'll stumble over you like you was the stone on the ground, like, yeah, screw you. And it's like, I'm a human being like you walking around. I'm just wired backwards from what you are. You're reprobated, I'm not. Or maybe you're half and half and I'm fully in the light. Maybe you're lukewarm and you got mad that you tripped over me and was... I understand. If someone's lukewarm and they trip over you, they understand why they tripped over you more than somebody who's completely reprobated. Because they understand the light even a little bit. Okay? That's strange. So it's like, well, how do we handle situations like that in life? We don't push the button. We give it to God. We pray and hope that they get wisdom. Well, and that's something I struggle with too, is because the Bible says, Jesus says to bless your enemies, okay? But to bless my enemies, is that the same thing as throwing pearls before swine? So there was different bouts of wisdom that Jesus spoke that was hard for me to put together. Where maybe that's if the difference between that is, if I'm going to bless my enemy, I might as well bless them with some sort of wisdom out of my mouth. If they don't accept correction, then stop doing it. That was how I saw those two things that Jesus said correlating. So, if I give you wisdom after you stumbled over me, and you refuse to accept correction, and you refuse to accept the wisdom, and it's still your fault, I'm going to go pray for you. Alright, I decided I'm going to put out a little bit more. So, if you stumbled over me, or you stumbled over someone, evaluate why you stumbled over them, or me, or whatever. Evaluate why. If you can figure out why, that's where you should start. What I am going to see is that there's a lot of people in this world that will tell you, quote unquote, that they have a problem with God. Okay? This is one where I kind of look at people and I'm like, that's not good. If somebody tells you, I have a problem with God, okay, you should respond to them and tell them that's not good. And if they're like, well, I just don't really like that, and this and that, you got to look at them and be like, it's not good to have a problem with the Most High. That's not inherently good. So, resolve that. I believe that the reason why people stumbled over me was that they hated me. I think that may be that's something that people tell me is, I hated you. Why? I don't know. Insecure, seeds. If you stumbled over someone because you hated them, okay, you need to figure out why, what about them triggered you to hate them, and identify what seed it is that's in here or possibly sprouted in here. That's how you'll figure out your answer to why you stumbled, so that you don't ever do it again, and you try and remedy it the best you can, even if it's just shaking the person's hand and I don't hate you anymore. That doesn't sound too bad. Alright, so I'm in drive-thru, but this is an answer for you, okay? Someone may have betrayed you, like your wife cheated on you, or your girlfriend cheated on you, or your husband or your boyfriend cheated on you, because they were absolutely in love with you, but they had a problem with God, and the light of God is in you. That's an answer that may shock a lot of people, but that was the case, I believe, with some people that betrayed me, is that they loved me a lot, that they looked up to me, but they had a problem with God because of something that they had done, or a deep dark seed that was in here or in here. So you will see that the people that will treat you terribly, it's a very strange phenomenon. But what does that mean? You do not sacrifice the love for God and your faith for somebody else just to like you or get along with you. Love thy Father the Most High first. Put Jesus before anything. That's why it's so important to be equally yoked.